Well, friends, racers, it is time for another season of Downhill Southeast Racing, and we're just a week away from the kickoff of the 2024 season at the Trials Training Center. And that means we got the boss, Neko back on the Downhill Southeast pre-race show to give us all the news and updates about what to expect for the opening round at TTC. Neko, how's it going, my friend?
It's going good, Will. I'm excited for the season ahead. Can't believe it's the 9th season of Downhill Southeast. Time flies. Come a long way. But just as excited as I was the first year we were going to TTC this same weekend.
Heck yeah, man. 9 years. It's quite an accomplishment. And there's been a lot of friends made along the way. And if you've been to all 9 races at TTC, you go to the Downhill Southeast trailer and Carolyn might have a little something special for you. Maybe a special piece of Downhill Southeast swag to commemorate it.
Sounds good.
Well, yeah, it's the 9th season of the series. It's the 6th race at TTC. And a quick trivia question for you, Neko, to start it off. Who is the winningest pro racer in the history of Downhill Southeast at TTC, male or female? Who has the most wins in the elite class? Could be a man, could be a woman.
I would guess Luca.
He is tied for second with yourself, but the winningest elite racer, male or female, is none other than Frida Ronning with 3 wins at this venue.
All right. Hopefully she comes back this year and makes it 4.
Yeah, she could extend that lead. You're tied with Luca. Both of you guys have 2 wins each, and Bryce Crispy stole that one away from you last year. You could be in the 3-time winner club.
Oh, man, I'll have to get him this year.
Well, like you said, we're back at the TTC, and this is a race that always has an amazing grassroots feel, and it's a great way to start your season off. And Neko, it's a venue that you've really put a lot of passion into to keep bringing the race series back there. It's a unique venue, so there's a few things that are going to be different about the race at the opening round at TTC compared to the rest of the series. So tell us about some of those changes and what folks can expect as they get ready to get out to Sequatchie.
Yeah, TTC is definitely a different place. I say it every year, but it's so cool that our series can go to a place like TTC that's pretty homegrown and backwoods, and then also places like Snowshoe, which is one of the nicest resorts in the country. So we get all sorts in Downhill Southeast. And TTC is, as you said, the first place we've ever raced for Downhill Southeast, and it's always an early season venue. The weather down in Chattanooga is always a little nicer, so it just fits for an early season race. I guess differences at this one mainly is going to be the schedule. Normally we have 3 practice groups where we split all the Cat 1s together, and then the Cat 2, 3s are split into 2 groups. But for this race, we normally have a little bit smaller turnout. It's early season. We only have 1 track at TTC for everyone. This year we did make it a lot more line options and tried to widen it up so it's not as intimidating for those beginner riders. But generally speaking, we get a similar amount of Cat 1s as we do at all the other venues and a lot less Cat 2, 3s than we get at the other venues. So instead of having to split those into 3 groups, we're just going to have 2 practice groups, give everybody more practice time on Saturday and Sunday. Last year, some of those, like for Cat 1 practice, we had 4 trucks going and there was a lineup the whole time. And during some of the Cat 2, 3 splits, there was nobody in line. So I think it is be a more even split of the riders that are practicing in each session. The other thing that we've been trying to do at all the races is have prepaid pit spaces. That's been really well received. We don't charge a lot for them, but it just ensures that we can cover the expense of having to mark out all those spots. And that's something that we're looking to do at all the other venues. But unfortunately at TTC, we just couldn't find a spot that was better than the free public parking. So we didn't want to charge people for something that you could just go and park at. Just didn't feel right to take their money for that. So TTC is just going to be first come, first serve for parking. You do need to take down your setup each night. You don't want to run the risk of it blowing away or anything. So
nice.
something we're working on. But TTC is, as I said, it's not a huge resort. It's a pretty small spot. Got a really cool vibe, but yeah, there's a little more to work on there with with just some logistics.
Nice. Well, speaking of work, you guys have been working on the category breakdown at Downhill Southeast over the off season, and this is the first race where we're going to see some new categories added for 2024 that I think will be really well received. Tell us about some of the new categories that have been added into the mix.
Yeah, we just try to take rider feedback and constantly refine what our operations doing, and we were seeing so many under 18 cat 2-3s, which is awesome. They're the future of the sport. They're the young kids getting into it. That instead of having it as a cat 2-3 combined, which we've always done, we're splitting it into a true cat 2 and cat 3 category. So for the 14 under, 15, 16, and 17, 18, there'll be a true cat 2 and cat 1. Or sorry, well, yeah, cat 1, but a true cat 2 and cat 3 category. And the other thing that helps with is passing on track. The cat 2-3s, they don't seed, so they run on the same 30-second gap as everybody else does. And we've had in the past sometimes a bigger difference in the fastest and slowest rider in that category than others, being that it's an entry-level category. So splitting that into 2 and 3, the guys racing their first race can go cat 3, get a couple under their belt in that category before going up to cat 2. And it just keeps people racing against the guys that they're competitive with. So that's one of the changes we're excited about. And then we're also splitting cat 1 women into two categories. There'll be 16 and under and 17 and over. So in the past, we just had one cat 1 women category, and now we've got the split, which I think will be really well received as well. So yeah, I'm excited about the updates to the categories.
So, in addition to all those category updates, Neko, there's been some big time track updates here to DeSauce Downhill Track, as it's affectionately known at the TTC. And it was already an awesome track. The rider feedback had been incredible after we went back to the venue in 2022 to kind of open up this new track. And it looks like the crew's been putting in some great work. And I saw the Hagen boss, Sean Leader, had his excavator precariously perched on the Cumberland Plateau doing work.
Yeah, Sean was out there probably 10 days. Like he put in a ton of work, along with Corey Jackson and Charlie Goldwyn, and even Jack Peterson. He had his whole little crew out there from Rotten Oaks. They were getting the track prepped for us. And yeah, it's so much easier to go back and refine the track than it is to build it the first time. TTC is such a cool one because it's like the community together building this downhill track. We've had several work parties where we get 20 people to show up with tools and just stand next to each other and help build the track. And you can get so much done like that. It's not like a big project on the mountain ops team at a bike park. It's like a bunch of downhill racers trying to put together the best track so that we can all have a race on. And I think that's something really cool and special about that. But yeah, this year we went through and we just tried to widen up that top section. When we first built it, we just needed to get a route down it, and it got pretty narrow last year once it was burned in, going 30 miles an hour with your handlebar dragging the bank on the bench cut. So we went through and we just widened that section up. Some of the steeper pitches we tried to mellow out as much as we could. Some of the narrow spots we tried to build up a wider bench. So it should be, the goal is to make it faster and more line options for the Cat 1 and Pro riders, and less intimidating for the Cat 2-3s. So if any Cat 2-3s are listening, give TTC a try. Like, that was a big goal of ours, was to try to make it less intimidating and create line options that were easier. Where yes, it's the only venue that we have one track. We don't separate Cat 2-3s, just because, as I said, like we all built this track in our spare time, and that is the only way off the mountain right now. There isn't other tracks there, and there's definitely not a place to make an easier track right now. But we went through this one and tried to make it as wide and less intimidating as we could, and we got a lot done. We like the big areas that were, I felt, the hard spots, we made a lot wider, created like some of the steeper chutes we just took off the edge and benched it out, made it easier to get down. So I think people are going to really like it. We also, some of the spots where there was some drops, like the go around in the past was a huge penalty. And that kind of is tough in racing because people then feel the pressure to do something that maybe they're not comfortable with because the penalty is so much. You can gain 5 seconds by hitting this drop. And it's like, man, I got to do it. So we went through and we made some go arounds that were much less of a penalty. So people don't feel the need to get so far out of their comfort zone, especially the guys in the Cat 2-3 categories. So better lines there. Awesome. And more flow the whole way down. The S turn section, Corey and Charlie just stacked every turn. They look really good. So yeah, just putting the same amount of time in that we put the first year building the whole thing. We just went through and were able to refine it so much and really go through and make the track in perfect shape for the race coming up. So super excited about it.
That sounds amazing, man. Yeah, I would echo your sentiments that Cat 2-3 riders, you should put this race on your calendar if before you thought, man, it's a little bit out of my league. It's just high quality downhill terrain. And with all the work that you guys have put in, I'm sure it's going to be even better, but it's a unique track because it's not at a bike park. Folks aren't, ragging it out all season. It's not like Lower Hairball at Snowshoe that's been raced on for 20 years. It's kind of this pristine hillside with like you said, it's almost like a private downhill track. We race on it once a year and then it kind of nature takes over, the boys freshen it up. So it's just high quality downhill. That's all I got to say on that. I will have to ask, because I saw some of the crew that was out for the volunteer day. I saw Jack Burnett was out there. I know he likes pain and punishment in the gym, so he was probably going pretty hard on the tools. Is there like a particular volunteer MVP from the dig weekend that put in some extra effort?
Man, I'm so glad that they all came out. Like we had probably 20 guys there, and it was a team effort. So, and we were all just standing there working together. Like it's just a bunch of guys in the woods, like hanging out, talking, bench cutting. I led the direction of it, but like I was working right alongside them. So it was just like you can get so much done with that many people. Like I often work on the trails by myself. So when you got 20 times that, it's just a lot more to do. I will say that Jack Burnett dug out an entire tree that was over a foot in diameter by himself, which was very impressive. We were just at a spot, the tree pinch, which is like notorious, one of the harder spots on that track. And it's the only way off of that top cliff section. And we took out a tree on the right side to try to just bring the whole level of the chute down, so it wasn't as much of a steep edge on it. And it was the only way to get that tree out was to dig it out because we needed the root ball to get the trail level lower. So Jack dug that whole tree out by himself. I've never seen a tree that big around dug out by hand. But if anybody could do it, Jack can.
Yeah, he got the old Fire Pulaski out. He's right at home with that.
Yep.
That's amazing. So do you think that track times might come down a little bit? I mean, I know you get variable conditions at TTC, and that's going to impact your run time. But I think last year times were kind of, well, you and Grice Crispy were at 2:20, but then the majority of the pros were kind of 2:30 and above. Yeah, do you think there's going to be impact on the run time?
I think the whole track will be faster. Everything that we did to it is just going to make it run faster. It's wider. You can go faster on it. Some of the harder compressions, we kind of like even coming down that bridge at the top, we added so much dirt at the bottom to try to make it a smooth transition. So you'll be carrying more speed. However, we did go in and make a couple of fresh cut sections that will be a little slower. So I don't think it's going to be under 2 minutes or anything like that, but I think it'll probably be 10 seconds quicker.
Nice. Well, I guess the only thing left to do is for folks to get tires on it And registration is still open, I believe. And I think this is going to be posted maybe Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday. So depend on when you're listening to this. But has the early bird registration expired by now on the evening of Tuesday the 20th?
Yeah, so today's the last day for it, Tuesday the 20th, but by the time this gets posted up, I think we'll be out of early bird reg. We normally do that. The 2 weeks before on the Tuesday is the last day for the $10 off the reg. It just helps us, like, we're trying to plan this race and know how many, we're trying to plan a party and we know how many people are coming, basically. So we try to incentivize people to register in advance. And then as we have for the past 3 years, there's no on-site registration, and the Tuesday before each race is the last day to sign up. Downhill Southeast website or Bike Reg, you can go on there, and that's where you sign up for the race.
Right on. Any other pertinent details before we take a look at the pre-reg and see who's committed to come do this race?
If anybody wants to go ride the track in advance, TTC is open every day, but please don't try to duck the fee. I think it's only $20 and you got to shuttle yourself, but it's any day of the year you can do that. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited even this weekend, the weekend before the race, or the days leading up to it. You can shuttle, just, show. I wish more people would actually go there even after the race. Like we prep it, like you said, for this one day, and TTC is so generous to let us come on their property and do this. Like we built this whole downhill track for our race, and the general manager rode up on his motorcycle and thanked me. So it's pretty cool that they're that open to us doing it. But if more people would go and pay the shuttle fee or the land use fee the same as a motorcycle, maybe riding at TTC would grow. So if you do go, just make sure you pay and sign the waiver. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be a clutch preseason training spot too, as you're getting ready for the national series or anything else you got on your calendar this year.
Absolutely. I mean, we're spoiled with all these bike parks now. I think that's why people don't want to go to shuttle at TTC, but I've probably done 3,000 laps at Rock Creek now, so I'm always excited to go someplace different. And anybody who's training for downhill, riding Rock Creek and Windrock, like, go out to TTC one day. It's another place to ride, pretty fun, and you can ride during the week. So it's add it to the list.
For sure. Well, speaking of lists, I've got the pre-reg list pulled up right here, and I'm taking a look at the Pro Women, which, of course, our top qualifiers from Pro Women are going to be on the Gravity Co-op's Race Replay show. That'll be the first one of the season, so I know the whole crew is fired up to produce that. And we've got our defending race winner from last year in the Pro Women's class, Abby Ronka, is on the list. Xana Logar registered as well. She took her first win on the Downhill Southeast Series last year at Snowshoe. Xana's younger sister, Raina Logar, also mixing it up in the Pro Women's ranks. And I see Sarah Hamlin on here from the brand new GT Wild Ride downhill squad that Maisie Hayden put together. We've got a great interview with Maisie about that GT Wild Ride team on the Gravity Co-op's Hot Seat podcast. So put that in your earbuds as you're making the drive out to Sequatchie and learn a little bit more about that all-women's downhill race team. And it's looking like a strong class, Neko. It's very young, I will say that. It's a young pro class.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like, a lot of the girls bumped up to pro this year, and we encourage that. Like, why not? It's a downhill. It's an individual time trial. You don't affect anybody else when you race. So if you want to race the fastest category, go for it. I wanted to do that when I was 15, and I got the chance to a bunch of times. So yeah, if they want to race, go for it. And it's only going to make them faster, make the field more competitive. So yeah, we're excited for it.
For sure. Speaking of young racers stepping up, Manny Santamarina, also going to be in that pro class this year. She's been racing downhill Southeast for a number of seasons now in the junior ranks. Delaney Stull, another fast West Virginian in that class. And then I got to give a shout out to Amelia Capuano. She's been traveling the country, if you follow her on Instagram, just free riding at all the best spots in the Southwest while it's been wintertime here in the Southeast. And she's on the start list riding for Dirt Spray Racing, coming back to the first race of 2024.
Yeah, I saw some of her videos of hitting the rampage stuff. I was impressed, dude. She hit some huge gaps out there. So be exciting to see her race the pro category and see how she can do this year.
And the pro men's list is filling up quick. Already 21 folks here on Tuesday night, and a really nice diverse list of pros. Of course, we've got a lot of young riders here, so I'll start there and pick out a couple, notably Lucas Dodora for the Pro Builds Racing team. And we had Lucas's team manager, George, on the Gravity Co-op's Hot Seat podcast. He also manages Transition Factory Racing. That was, I think, episode number 3. So check out that interview to learn more about the team that Lucas is riding for, Pro Builds and Transition Factory. But Lucas had a breakout ride here last year, Neko, when he was 16. He was 5th place, and I knew who Lucas was. I've known who he is for a couple years, but he's from New York, so he's not down here all that often. And he is 17 this year. I'll say he was 8 seconds off your pace last year, but you know how much faster you get between 16 and 17. I mean, that's probably an 8-second jump.
Yeah, for sure. Lucas is a great rider. It was awesome seeing him have a couple of breakout rides last year. A couple of the races, he and Asa were the top 2 guys, and they're both 16. So it's pretty cool to see that young talent. And he led the series going into our 3rd round last year, which was really impressive. So hopefully, I know he broke his arm at that race, unfortunately. I'm sure he would have carried that a lot further. But looking forward to seeing what Lucas can do this year.
No doubt. We've got another another top 5 finisher from last year's race at TTC on the start list so far, and that's Dylan Conti, coach for the Killington Mountain School. So he'll be, pulling double duty as always. He's bringing the KMS squad down for some preseason training. I believe they're in Brevard as we speak right now, and then they'll be making their way over to Sequatchie. But yeah, Dylan's the guy that's got a lot of good results over the years, and he was just off the podium at this one last year in 4th place.
Yeah, I saw him out at the trails the other day. Excited for him to be back. It's cool. He brings the whole team. They've been supporting a lot of our races. So I think Dylan did a bunch of the TTCs in the beginning too. I remember when he was staying down here in the winter, he raced a lot of those original Downhill Southeast races. So excited to see him still competitive and still in the mix with all the new guys.
Absolutely. It's that experience, man. He's a wily veteran. You know a little something about that.
A little bit.
It'll keep you in the game. Yeah, a couple other notable names, Neko, that I'm seeing here. Cole Sweetos. It's pronounced Sweetos, by the way. His mom told me that at National Champs last year. So, Cole, I apologize for saying your name wrong all those times. I wish you'd told me earlier. But he's moved to Tennessee, and dude's looking lightning quick at Windrock.
Yeah, dude, he is so fast. He doesn't really race a lot. He trains just like all the other top pros, but he doesn't hit as many races as some of the other guys. So I'm really stoked to see him signed up. Excited to see how he does. Excited to race with him. And yeah, he's a great dude. So I'm stoked he's going to be supporting our series this year.
I got to give a shout out to Austin Sansusi, who's moving up from juniors into pro this year. He's been riding for the Gravity Academy for a number of years. This has got to be maybe his 4th or 5th season on Downhill Southeast at this point, but he has moved up along with Freddie Tolar. So yeah, we're continuing to feed those younger riders up into the pro ranks. And then, we've got the wily veterans like Ronnie Vance, who still wants to make some podiums. I know he's got some performances in him this year. So yeah, we'll see how Ronnie and some of the other veterans that are on the start list, like Jared Calhoun and Michael Kane, can fare against these young guns.
Yeah, a bunch of awesome riders there. Those guys have all done our series since the beginning, so it's awesome to see them, still training. I see them out at the bike park in the past couple of weeks, and they're all getting ready for these races. So it's pretty cool that they're looking forward to it, and we have this series that they can train for and look forward to.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, love watching the racers grow over the years. I noticed one name that's not on the start list. Not that this particular individual wouldn't have the clout to get on there when anytime they wanted, and that's yourself, Are you going to have a Frameworks rig out on track at the TTC?
I will. Absolutely, dude. I was out at the track for a couple days prepping it, so I want to ride it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to racing. Ace is going to be there. I'm picking him up from the airport on the Wednesday before, so we'll both be racing. I know Crispy's going to be there, defending champ from last year.
Get it,
Crispy. Trying to defend his win. I'm sure Jack Peterson will be there too. He dug on the track so much that I'm sure he's not going to miss it. So a couple guys that and myself included that may be late to sign up for things, but we'll be there at the race for sure.
Right on. Yeah, Jack had a podium here last year in third place, and he was down at the Costa Rica Open. And I mean, I know Jack, like he's always going to go 100+% at a race, but maybe even self-admittedly in some of his Instagram posts, he was struggling in that deep dust a little bit, just different than what we ride around here in the Southeast. So maybe he's looking for a little home cooking when he comes back to Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a mutter, but I guarantee we're not going to have deep dust at TTC.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, we can't wait to cover all the racing action with the Gravity Cooperative. The GCO team just continues to get better and better each year. And yeah, TTC is the place we love to go and capture the show. So folks, be sure to watch out for YouTube when the race replays drop. And Neko, I'm wishing you good luck, man. I know you remember what it was like to be that 16, 17-year-old trying to knock off the top pros, and now you're trying to fend them off. So I wish you the best.
Absolutely, man. I'm proud to try to give him a hard time. Can't let him have it that easy. I think that's the best thing you can do is try to lay down a fast time and hope they beat it. Like I'm happy when they're raising the bar, but I think the best thing you can do to make the next generation strong is kick their ass every once in a while.
That's right. I mean, that's what guys like Garrett Bata and Chris Herndon used to do for you. So it's only right that you pass the torch.
Heck yeah, Southeast strong.
All right, my friend. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great race. Really looking forward to it, folks. Make sure that you get signed up in advance. No on-site registration with Downhill Southeast. So visit downhillsoutheast.com for any of the information you need, including this new modified practice schedule for TTC. And Neko, unless you got anything else, I say we look forward to seeing you all at the races.
That's it, man. Thanks to SRAM for making this all possible. We wouldn't be able to do all the race coverage without them and all their umbrella of brands, RockShox, Zip, Time, and Worldwide Cyclery for providing prizes. So thanks to all the sponsors, and see you guys at the race. Will's supporting right now.
I got to show love to my friends at SRAM RockShox. I got a brand new bike build. It's actually sitting right behind me. It's a new Giant Rain frame, and just got this RockShox Zeb in and can't wait to let her eat here in a couple weeks. Waiting on some wheels.
Well, Will, since you're not going to be announcing live at every race, maybe you can make it out to single crown category.
I like your thinking, Neko. Yeah, and it is a little bit unfortunate. I'm not going to be at every race to announce, just new dad life. And all you parents out there, freaking rock stars, by the way. It is not easy, and of course Caroline's crushing it. But we will be at a few races. We're definitely going to be at the snowshoe races, and I'm going to have this new big rig. So I appreciate you putting that bug in my ear, Neko. I have to get on the registration list.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you at the TTC.
Peace.